Hi everyone, Nessie here. So I wanted to kind of do like a tutorial craft with me video. I recently made some folders like this from underwear packaging, this type. It's for boys. Well, these ones were for boys' trunks, but I think you get the same for men. You don't get these for women. You can get them for socks as well, I think, but yeah, these are for boys' trunks. And then I kind of made this out of it. This isn't finished, it's nearly finished, but I then kind of made it with these flaps. I'm not going to show you this now, I'll show you it when it's finished. And then there's kind of like this pocket in the underneath it that you can put like just a journal inside. So that's what I made out of it. Now this was the first one I made, and there were a lot of things I did that I wish I had done differently, especially with the edgings on the hinges. So I tried covering them with washi tape, which is fine, worked out well. But the problem I have with washi tape is it doesn't stick well. So you have to do a lot of gluing with the washi tape with this one, because otherwise it peels. So I then decided to make another one. So I then made this one, and I did things differently. For the first one, I used envelopes for the flaps, whereas with this one, I used cardboard so that I can just add pockets to it. I edged all of it in masking tape, brown masking tape. I edged all of it in masking tape, which not only personally I think it makes it look a lot better where the hinges are, it's just a bit neater, and also it kind of reinforces it as well. I've just put that in there to hold the pocket up. But yeah, do you see, like, I've literally edged all of it in washi tape, not washi tape, this one was brown masking tape. So I thought I'd show you how I made it. Now you have to bear with me, because I have to tell you it is not easy. It is quite fiddly. It's very fiddly, in fact, and covering it all in masking tape as well takes a lot of time. But I will do what I can, because I'm not very good at editing videos, so I can't really fast forward through things like that. You might have to just bear with me or fast forward through it yourself. What else was I going to say? So for this one, I wanted to use, I'm going to use a kit by Pink Monic Prints, I think they're called. Yeah, Pink Monic Prints, and the kit I'm using from them was a subscription kit, and it's I think it was their November one, but you can buy it on its own. But it's like a travel type one. I think it's called Adventure Awaits or something. And the papers I'm using are all they're like red and black. There is, obviously there's brown in there, but there's a lot of red and black. So I had decided that with this one I wanted to edge the edges in black rather than the brown washi tape. So I have done some prep work. I have cut out what I'm going to use as my front flaps. So I have one on the top. There's a total of 6 flaps. You can do them any size you want, obviously, but I will tell you the measurements of these. And I mixed and matched the sizes up. So I've also prepped by doing extra hinges. I kind of found that when I was attaching my flips that these just on their own weren't really strong enough to hold the weight, so I kind of add extra hinges on as well as I go along. So I prepped those, and these are just like strips of off-cut card. They're about 1 inch to 3/4 inch thick, and it doesn't really matter what length you do them, as long as when you attach your flip, it doesn't go over the edge of your flip, if you understand what I mean. So as long as it's within your flip bounds, it doesn't really matter how long the strips are. But I made mine about 1 inch long. And then the parts that you're going to see, I covered with the washi tape, because I don't want you to see the brown, I want you to see the black. So I have kind of decided that I was going to do my like box bit at the bottom. So this bit we're going to turn into a box to put a journal in. Now their hinge on this one is it's quite a big one on this one. On the other one, I think it was 3/4 inch, but on this one it's 1 1/8 inch, and that was a bit bigger than what I wanted. And also on my other ones, it had pre-scored lines. This one does have pre-scored lines, but they're all in different places, so that's no good to me. So I'm going to score my own lines, and that is really fiddly and quite awkward to do on a scoreboard, because I've decided my spine's going to be 1 inch, so I'm going to have this 1 inch, so I want to rescore it. Now when you rescore it, you're going to have to start at this edge, so I want it 1 inch up from here to here. Now to do that on a scoreboard is very awkward. It's doable, but it's very hard to do. I'll kind of try and explain why. Because I kind of want it 1 inch from this edge here, but I don't want it on the bottom bit. I only want it on the top bit. So it's quite an awkward thing to do, to kind of line it up to the edge, and then, because you've got to kind of really line it up and then score at your inch. Now I managed to do it, but I found it really hard and fiddly and awkward. So I thought what I might try and do is, I even tried it on a smaller scoreboard and it was just so hard. I think what I'm going to do is take the scorer off my scoreboard and see if I could do it with my ruler. Does that make sense? Well, anyway, let's see. So let's start with the pocket bit. I'm going to do it at 1 inch, like I said. So if you've got a cutting mat, it's going to make it life a lot easier. So if I line it up on one of the lines, hopefully I'm in camera. Now I know that that's 1 inch there. 2 lines is 1 inch. So I can actually, because also you see these flips kind of get in the way. So this is a very fiddly project. I have to admit it is, highly. And you really kind of need to take your time with it and stuff like that. So stop moving, ruler. I'm going to try and see if I can score with my ruler instead on a mat. And in all honesty, maybe might not be for you, but my actual ruler is actually exactly 1 inch thick. So that could be useful to know. So I scored at 1 inch from the fold line. Then I'm going to fold it over and fold it on that fold line and bone folder it. So now that should give me a 1 inch spine on that side. Yep, great. Now I need to measure what the back is. So the back is going to be 5, my back is 5 3/4. So I now need to score 5 3/4 from that fold there. So I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to put that on the 10 there. On the 10. And then, so my fold line is on the 10. That's the 10 on my cutting mat. So it's on the line on the 10" on my cutting mat. And I'm then going to go 5 inches backwards and 3/4, which puts me at there. And then I'm going to score. So I have scored 1 inch in from this fold. And then, no, there. I've made a mistake already, you see. I did that fold line, their fold line, and not my fold line. I need my fold line on the cutting mat at 10. And then I will go backwards 5 inches and 3/4. Did I say 5 3/4? See, I'm second guessing myself already. Let me just double check that. Always double check my measurements. Because you see, it's a good job. It's 6 3/4. No, it's not. Oh, see, I'm confusing myself already. And this is what I mean by, although it's worth it, it's a lot. You kind of, it's fiddly, and yeah, it's definitely 5 3/4. 5 3/4. So on my fold, put my fold, not their fold, on the 10 line. On the 10 line. Yep. And then I want to go back 5 3/4, which puts me there. And then I'm going to score there. And then to make for the spine on this side, so you've got a spine this side. To make the spine for this side, I want to move this along 1 inch. Which puts me about there. And then I'm going to score again. So it's much easier to do it with a ruler and a scorer, or whatever you use in the way of scorers, like a pen, I don't know, blunt scissors. We all use different things. And then I'm gonna I'm using the wrong end. No wonder I struggled. Bone folder of those hinges down. And then that gives me my box at the length that I want it. So this bit I'm going to cut off because it's just in the way. On the other ones that I used, this bit was a lot longer. It came right across. So you had this bit that folded over, and then you had another bit that folded over. And on that one, I folded it back and used it as a pocket on the back, but it's not really necessary to have a pocket on the back. Right, so then that gives me my box. Well, not the box, it gives me the top and the sides. We have to make our own bottom. But now, because I've done my box at 1 inch spine, these all have to be scored at 1 inch as well. Now, luckily, my ruler is exactly 1 inch thick, but you can obviously do this the way I just did the others. So I'm just going to do mine. Lay the ruler like that, and then just score all the way down. I mean, you can do your box or your spine as big or as little as you want. I'm just doing mine at 1 inch because that's what I liked. Hold on, I can't see my score line. There it is. So fold it backwards first, just so that I can see where they are and to show you. So they're all now like 1 inch, the same as my other one. That one seems a bit smaller, but, or is that one wrong? Let's do that bottom one again. Yeah, it's quite a thick card, so I'm going over it a few times. So yeah, that's 1 inch. Obviously, I folded them backwards, but obviously we want them to go forward. Then I'm going to do the same on the other side. These, it's just so fiddly. They get in the way so much. So I'm just going to lay that on the edge like that. I mean, I suppose you could just do your spine the width of your ruler, just for the fact that it's just so much easier than trying to fiddle around on a scoreboard with these, because I promise you it is so awkward. I tried it and got into a right pickle with it. So I'm just going to fold these back so that you can see, but obviously when it comes to making it, I will want them folded the other way. You just see how everything just gets in the way. See, that one's done it again. Hold on. Nope, I didn't fold it on my score line. I folded it on theirs. There you go. So these hinges are now all got 1 inch spine, and the ones that I did beforehand, that I pre-did, these are all 1 inch. So I cut my strips, I scored 1 inch in the middle somewhere and folded them and then covered them. So they're all 1 inch. Now, some of these ones are quite long, so I'm just going to trim them down. Doesn't matter where you trim them. They're just too long, so trim those down and get rid of them. See, I've torn mine there, but that's fine because this is all going to be matted and everything's going to get covered in masking tape. Nope, there. Just make sure you stick to your score lines and not theirs. With some of them, it's a bit more awkward than others. Just going to re-flatten that one because I can see that one's going to give me a hard time the whole time. Right, now I am going to cover these in masking tape before we do the bottom box. And I'm going to show you how I covered these in masking tape. Now, basically with masking tape, with the covering of masking tape, any piece, any bit of card that is going to be exposed that we can see, I want covered in tape. So it just looks like I've made it out of black card. So I have some black masking tape. However, the roll was like really thick, so I had to get my husband to cut it down. So mine's really kind of rough and ready from where he cut it down, but that doesn't matter for this project because you're not going to see the edges because we're going to mat it. Does that make sense? Right, so to cover these with masking tape, I basically just did, my masking tape just ripped mid-roll. That's so annoying when that happens. This kind of happens more with me because of the way it's been cut. It makes the edges a bit rough. So let's just neaten that up. Basically, I was... this bit's going to give me grief. But it doesn't matter. I just covered it down like that with the masking tape. Let's just put another little bit. It's decided it's going to rip there on every turn for some reason. It wasn't before. So just take another little piece and put it there. Okay, so now I've covered, as you can see, I've covered my joins here. So what I did was I just took a craft knife and I just cut it down like that. There, see? So you're cutting it where the tape goes. Just cut the tape. Because, I mean, you are going to see this inside. I've put mine a bit low down. I should have put it further up, but I'm going to cover them anyway. So then, you see, now I can still fold those in. Then I can pick this up, and then I just fold it over on the other side. And fold it over. And then just trim off the excess. And then I'm going to fold this over, and because my spines, these spines are going to be seen as well, I'm going to do the same for the other side. So let's get us it's still doing it. Okay, hold on. Right, so it's only going to let me go that far with that tape. So you just stick it down on the thing, on the card. I really struggled to find black masking tape. I don't know if it would be easier in America or other countries, but in England I had to order it online, and it's all so thick. It's all like duct tape thickness. So again, I take my craft knife and I'm going to cut along the edges. And this does make it so much more sturdier as well. Kind of reinforces it all. Just check that I've got them cut right. And then I can peel this off. Just fold it over. I mean, take your time with it. Don't rush it. I'm trying to do it quite quick because I don't want... I know how long... People hate long videos, don't they? Right, and then you've got to, now see, like there's a bit of white showing, so I'm probably just going to take a bit of masking tape and just wrap it around that bit there so you can't see it. I mean, don't worry about how neat your masking tape is, because this, I'm going to mat this, so you're not going to see it. You're not going to see the masking tape. I mean, you could wrap these individually, but I just found this was the quickest and easiest way to do it. I'm going to put some masking tape on that rip just to hold it into place. And then I'm going to cover it again. And then I'm going to do the same for this side. You don't need to go all the way down here, because that's going to be the inside of the pocket, so you're not going to really see it. But just to be honest, I'm just going to do it anyway, because A, it reinforces it, and it's just easier, to be honest, for me. See if I can get a nice... You see, again, I've come too low down. I'm going to put that lower down. This is the beauty of using masking tape, isn't it? You can readjust it. So I want it to come further down. That's a bit better. Let's just smooth it down. Take that bit off. Right, and then we just cut them through. I have to tell you, this was a lot easier to see with the brown tape than it is with the black, but it's all good. Fold it, and then I'm just going to fold that bit down and trim my excess off. That bit, I'm just going to fold that over, just makes it easier. And I'll do that with that bit. On some of them you can just fold it over, some of them you have to trim the excess off. I'm really hoping that you can see what I'm doing and you can understand the gist of how I'm doing it. Right, this bit you are going to see, because this is the outside of the pocket, so I want a piece to go straight across. So let's do a piece straight across. Plain ball now. And to be honest, when it comes to matting it, if I haven't done it like down far enough, it doesn't take much. Just add a bit more masking tape to cover where the paper doesn't. Then just trimming, cutting in between the... It does help because there's kind of like a little circle just at the top of where the hinge is, and if you can pick that up, it kind of gives you a guide of where you need to cut. So, yeah. And then I'm just going to peel that up, fold over where I can. There we go. And then these excesses I'm going to trim. You kind of need to be a bit mindful of the edges as well, like these bits, they're going to be seen, so you don't want the joins or the fold overs to be too messy, if you get my meaning. So those are those done. Now these are hinges, so you are going to see the other side of the hinge, aren't you? So if you're going to see the bottom of the hinge, you're going to see the top of the hinge. So we also need to cover the tops of our hinges. So let's do this one first. This is going to be the inside of the pocket, so we don't really need to cover this bit. So I'm going to anyway. So let's pull off a bit. Okay, it's a bit short there, so I'm going to just put it there like that. Now you see I'm not going up high enough. I want to cover it more than that. So I'm going to go about there, I think. Yeah, that's a bit better. Like I say, take some time take your time with it, placing it and stuff like that. Now I want to cut through this side. This is a bit harder for some reason. I think it's because you don't have that kind of dot bit. Trying to get into there and then just pulling it down. There you go. You could just wrap that excess round. Just check that they're all good. Yep. And then I can just fold that bit over as well. And then we need to do the other side. I'm sorry if this is so boring. I just want you to kind of understand how we're doing it. Now this is the outside, so you are going to see this side. So let's see if I can get a nice piece off again. My masking tape is not playing the game. But I kind of knew this would happen because my husband cut the roll in half. Right, I'm going to try and get it half and half. I'm also a bit shaky. I haven't been well lately. I was quite ill all of last week with the flu. I'm still kind of getting over it. You know how it just kind of lingers, doesn't it? Of course, the kids have been on school holidays with Easter, so it was the perfect time to come down ill. There we go. And then this one, I'm just going to fold round. See, some of them are showing bits of white, like there's a slither of white. I really don't like it. I'm quite fussy. So I'm just going to add a bit of... When you get bits like that, because of the way you've cut it, just wrap a bit of masking tape around it. See, look, that one again. It's just a slither, but to me, it's all I will focus on. You know when you see a mistake and then that's all, you can't unsee it? It's not a mistake, but you know what I mean. I'm sure you know what I mean. There we go. Right, so we've got all of those hinges covered, and our spare hinges are covered. These hinges are also covered, but I'm going to just rebone those. Sounds a bit weird saying rebone. And spend a lot of time redoing my lines, my folds, I mean, especially when you're, I'm going to use the bigger one, get a better grip, can't you? Especially when you're covering them and reinforcing them. And I mean, they're quite stiff at the moment, and obviously the more you work them, they will loosen up a bit more. Right, there. And oh no, I haven't covered these ones yet. Now we've got to do the same on this side. Oh, this must be so tedious for you guys. Okay, just kind of half them over. Right. I might have to do this in 2 parts. I have no idea how long this is taking. Fold it over, then we'll flip it and do the other side. Right, so that's all of our hinges covered on both sides. Our spare ones are already covered. Now you see, I've got white strips here, and I will see those. I am going to be able to see those white strips, and that is going to so annoy me. These bottom ones are the ones that are giving me a hard time. I think it's because those ones are quite scored quite close. So as you can see, that there is going to be my spine, and I can see white, and I don't like that. And on that side. So what I'm going to do is just put a strip down there. Didn't really plan that well. I should have planned that a bit better. But it's okay. It doesn't take much to just cover it. And you do end up using a lot of masking tape and washi tape on this one, so make sure you've got a nice big roll that's the same. But like I said, you can just go over it again with little bits and cover up the bits that are showing that you don't like. I'm just going gonna, so hard to do with these flaps all over the place. Of course, if you can think of an easier way of doing this, you do it your way. You might not want it covered at all. You might just like to leave it white. It's all personal preference, really. I just don't like the white. I don't do with white. And you couldn't really ink it either because it's kind of like a glossy card. So you couldn't ink it. Right, I am kind of rushing now because I want to get this finished. Right, then trim off all your excess that you've got. Right, now we need to make the bottom for our box here. So we know our spine is 1 inch and we know that it is 5 3/4 wide. Yeah, so it's 1 inch by 5 3/4. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to there to give us our box shape. Now, because this is a glossy card, I kind of found that the tacky glue or the 3-in-1 didn't really do it. So I've been using glossy accents, and I've kind of found that the glossy accents does hold it quite well. But you kind of want a glue that is going to do glossy cut. It's going to stick glossy card, really. It's a bit harder to stick glossy card, I think, for it to take. Right, so let's leave that to dry. Now we need to make a bottom. So what I'm going to do is I took some card. Now these are measurements you are going to need to take note of. So going across the bottom, it's 5 3/4. So it's 5 3/4, but we want to add ends. So I'm going to do 6 3/4. So let's cut a piece at 6 3/4. Where's my ruler? Six and 3/4. Sorry, just lining it up. I think my knife is a bit blunt from cutting masking tape. Right, there we go. And right, going up, how thick is it? It's going to be 1 inch, isn't it? Of course it is. So it's 1 inch thick. So I'm going to do 2 inches by 2 inches. So it's mine. You have to measure your box. Hold on, I'll explain how I did it. I'll explain my measurements to you in a second. You'll see how it works. So, then I need to get my scoreboard out. And you need to score 1/2 inch in on all 4 sides. So 1/2 inch. Half an inch. Remember, I'm rubbish with scoreboards. Ooh, did it. half an inch, and half an inch. So you're left with this. It's a strip with 1/2 inches on each side. Then you're going to cut your corners off. So you're left with this. So that's the bottom of your box. Does that make sense? So to get your measurement, what you need to do is take the width or the length, take the length and add 1/2 inch on each end. And then take the spine, which is 1 inch, and add 1/2 inch on each end. So that's how you get the bottom of your box, because your packaging might be different to mine. And mine does not fit. Why does it not fit? Five and 3/4. I did it 5 1/2. Why did I do 5 1/2? Okay, I'm going to do mine again, because this is why I should always double check. So I want mine. Mine's 5 3/4. 1/2 inch on each end makes it 6 3/4. I did 6 1/2. Okay, so 6 3/4. 6 3/4. And then my spine is 1 inch, 1/2 inch on either side makes it 2 inches. 2 inches. I'm sorry that you're having to see me do this again. What I will probably do is attach this bottom, and then I will do a part 2 for showing you how I attach the flaps and a little bit of matting. I'm sure you don't need a full video on all of the matting, but for those of you who I will do a little bit of matting as well. Right, so 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. I'm so bad with scoreboards. I think I must be the only person who can't stay in the ridges when she squeezes a scoreboard. No, see? I didn't even hold that against the edge. 1/2 inch. I make so many mistakes when I'm crafting. I'm always having to redo things over and over. I don't think any of us are perfect when it comes to that. Right, now we are going to see our edges here, so I'm going to cover this with masking tape now. Yep. Put that across there. Thing is not helping me today. I feel like everything's gone against me on making this video. Once I decided to make it, I then got sick. Then I what was it? Then I had to have my grandchildren and my daughter's dog over, and it was just, they were so loud. It was like chaos. So it was like, nope, can't record a video. And then I was going to do it yesterday, and then my other grandson came down with something, so I had to have him. So today I've said, nope, done nanny duties, chucked all the little kids out for the day, and it's my day for videos. Cut my edges off. You don't have to do both sides of this one, because obviously you're not going to see the inside, are you? You're only going to see the outside of the box. So now I'm going to bone folder that. Use the bigger one. I just dropped my pen. And then that gives you the bottom of your box that's going to hold your journal or notepad or anything really. I've also made a folio that can go in there, so you can put anything in there. Now this is going to go on the bottom like so. Fits on the bottom of your box. Now this is fiddly. Again, I'm going to use the Glossy Accents glue for this. So I'm putting some on that side and some on that side. You probably would be better off doing one side at a time, but I'm quite lazy. Well, I'm not lazy, I just like to cut corners a lot. And it's quite hard to do this because it's a box and there's nothing really there supporting it. That's why I kind of had that tin in there to support it. Give me something to grip. Let me just grab something that I can put in there. This is probably too big. If you slide something in the pocket, it will give you something to push down on when you're gluing to get a grip. This is a bit thick, but it's all I've got at hand. You just hold it down until it glues. Again, it's something that kind of needs time to dry. My box is just too big. Let me use, hold on, I've got a tin up here, that might be better. Yeah, see, if you put something in there, then it will give you something to kind of apply pressure to when you're doing your gluing. So there's the Glossy Accents. Although it sticks well, I find it just takes a longer to dry. Sometimes you just have to leave it. But because of the video, I don't really have time to just leave it. Okay, let's try and leave that. And then we want to glue down the 2 side flaps. So I'm just going to put some... I also find the glossy accent bottle always clogs. No matter what I do, it always clogs. So if anyone who knows how to stop your glossy accent bottle clogging, I would appreciate to know, because I just can't seem to stop it from clogging. I'm always having to unclog the thing. Right, I'm just going to hold that for a bit. Now, the next step, once you've got your box made up, is covering all the edges that you're going to see, basically. So, like, you're going to see this edge, you're going to see the top edge of the box. They all need to be covered with masking tape if that's what you're going to do. And also, it doesn't hurt, to be honest, to just reinforce where you've glued with masking tape as well. Why has that done that now? Oh, I promise you, everything's just working against me. We can reinforce this with masking tape. Now you see that's not sticking down quite yet, so if I just put some masking tape, that will help it. And that edge, just I don't know why that's got an extra bit on top. I'm literally just covering everything in masking tape. Because personally, I think it makes it look better, gives it more of a finished look. That edge you're going to see, so we need to cover. Yeah, it just gives it more of a finished look, and then it also just gives it that bit more of a reinforcement as well, doesn't it? And let's reinforce that bit there with, oh, honestly, this tape is doing my head in. Note to self, don't get your husband to cut your masking tape in half again. I'm going to do it that side because you are going to see the edge. I mean, in all honesty, I'm a big believer in you can't reinforce it too much, I don't think. It just all helps. Okay, so what I will do is I will quickly cover the top bits, just for people who it's a bit harder to cover something when it's like that, isn't it? So to cover this, I'm going to neat up my masking tape to a straight line. I very rarely use scissors on masking tape unless I want to go right to the edge of something like that. And then I'm going to cut it there. And then I'm just going to fold that in. And again, this will reinforce your pocket. I mean, it's quite thick card anyway, but that's that edge covered. Kind of want to cover all of, well, no, not, yeah, okay, let's do it. So we're going to go straight to the edge again. And I'm going to cut it there. Fold it down. And then I'm going to do this. So see, that's stuck quite nicely now, and it masking tape reinforcing it has really helped. Is that long enough? Yeah. So I'm just going to go straight to the edge. From there. Let's just cut that end off. No. Why am I struggling to get my scissors in there? Let's do it this way. There we go. And I'm just going to fold that in. Now we can see a bit of this thing there, so I'm just going to peel off a piece and cover there as well. We only need that big, about that big. Oops. Why am I struggling to get that to stick straight? Let's go from the other side. That's better. I mean, you don't need to pay that much attention to it. I mean, if you're going to mat that, then you wouldn't matter about that white strip down there. But I'm not sure yet if I want to mat it, so let's just cover it. And then the only other piece that needs to be covered with masking tape is the top part. So right, I'm a bit conscious of how long this video's gone and how boring it's been as well, because it's just basically you watching me cover everything and wash in masking tape. But that basically gives you the bases of your box and your hinges. So we have our box that our journal, notebook or folio will sit in, and we have our hinges ready for our flaps. So I'm going to stop it there, and then I will make a part 2 and I will show you how I attach my flaps and reinforce my flaps and flaps. I'll start matting it as well, so you can kind of see how I mat it. But basically that's all the fiddly, well, no, it's not all the fiddly bits done, but it's we're getting there. So, and I'm starting to ramble again. So yeah, I'd love to know your feedback and your comments and your likes and your subscribes and all stuff like that. And I will see you in part 2. So bye.